Thank you so much for staying with us. We really appreciate your company since we began the show until now. It is Wednesday, and we focus on issues lifestyle. Now, under lifestyle, there's always that aspect of also looking at hobbies and how we spend our pastime, our free time. And today we want to talk about reading. Yes, we want to talk about reading, and I'll pick from where my colleague Martin Mwanje left when he said that there are people, and it's a very common phrase, that say that if you want to hide something from an African, then you get to hide it where? In a book, right here. So if you want any information not to get to as many people as possible, hide it in a book. So where is the problem? Could it be that we don't read, we don't create time to read and dig deep into the details about issues that concern us? That is what we want to talk about today. Enhancing the culture of reading in today's society. What is the problem? Why are people not reading? And probably what are some of the strategies that can work for us to be readers and to love reading? And what are the impacts of technology in this particular culture of reading? These are issues that we will be talking about in this particular program. And before the end of it as well, I will be hosting an author who has written such an amazing book, and he will be telling us more about dealing with disappointments when you want to live your dream, something that he's very passionate about. And I know right now it's just 1 month and finally January is over, and I know you made all those new beautiful resolutions, but then 1 month down the line, some of us have already started crawling, and we like said, yeah, we wanted to do this, but maybe next year, maybe I'll try next year. A lot of excuses we've started creating so far. So we will be talking about dealing with all those issues so that you stay on the right track when it comes to, you know, living your dream and achieving your goals, but that will come later. So right now, why don't we learn how we can be able to be a society of readers? And with me in studio, first I'm hosting 2 writers, and they have a vast background in writing. So I'll allow them to introduce themselves and tell us what they do and how they got into writing and currently where they are at. So I'll start with the gentleman from my far left, Kevin. Tell me more about yourself, and thank you so much for coming to the studios this morning.
Thank you to Safin. My name is Kevin Apodo. I'm a writer. I blog. I do articles, among the very many things that I do. And I love writing because it's the only thing that I found myself passionate about. Yeah, so that is how I found myself into writing. And I was not pulled into it. I just found myself there passionately.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, some people are pushed to write or read.
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation earlier and saying how immediately after Form 4, there's this culture of throwing away your books and burning them.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about enhancing the culture of reading, but introduce yourself to us, Tom.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm Tom Wiraria. I'm a traveler. I'm a social justice lover, and I'm a reader. I write for Daily Nation Life and Style pages. I also write for Kasom Africa. It's a Pan-African writing platform. I write for facts.com. I contribute profiles of famous people, history makers across centuries. Yeah, and I'm an affiliate of Writers Guild of Kenya. We are a community of 10,000 readers and writers. I'm so passionate about reading. It all started with the reading. I've always been a storyteller, and so reading and storytelling and then writing, there is that connection.
One moved to the other, and like that.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice that I have you today. We want to talk about enhancing the culture of reading, something that I know both of you are very passionate about, but you have to agree with me, society has drifted. Gone are the days when people would take a book and stay with it for a very long time, just understanding and reading and digging into the details. Mostly we prefer going online and Googling something very fast and moving on with our lives. So we want you to help us understand what is the importance of going back to the old way of getting information, reading newspapers, reading books, reading storybooks, and you know how technology has come in and affected that particular culture. So first of all, let me start with your assessment of what is happening now. Are there things that you see that are a clear sign that probably this culture of reading, if we do not do something about it, it can be a thing of the past. Kavi?
Yeah, actually, the habit of reading or the culture of reading is something that it's a contemporary problem that is now in the society. It's not only among the students, but even in the community as a whole. Because I think it would be a nice thing stepping into a matatu and find someone, at least two people with a book in the matatu. But here is a scenario that you find that people are nowadays thinking that reading is left for students who have exams. Yeah, and even the students themselves only read a week or two to exams.
And I like how you brought that out.
Yeah,
it is
so
not only for students,
yeah,
but for students who have exams.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you find that the culture of reading is a learned practice through which you can get information, knowledge, and even entertainment through the written word. So actually, this is something that should be encouraged. And you notice that nowadays, even the book sellers are not selling because people don't like reading books. So it is something that is really, what I can say, it's a taking time bomb. And I think myself and many other people have been trying to approach this challenge through many other things that I'll be able to share later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tom, probably where did the rain start beating us? What is the problem really? Because we used to read. We used to be a society of readers, and books were the only option in case you're looking for information. Then suddenly things began changing. So from your assessment, where did this problem actually begin, and what could have motivated that to happen?
Yeah, it's a retrogressive culture. We're drifting from reading to retrogressive habits. The gambling is a menace, and other retrogressive habits like drinking sprees and shisha sprees and such like. And the rain started beating us from when we started reading to pass exams. Schools should be centers that should promote the culture of reading. But now schools, because of the competition to shine in the exams, they're teaching the student to pass the exams instead of teaching the art of reading, to inculcate the love for reading. So they teach the books about, the students have been robotized, they've been mechanized to pass exams. They don't enjoy reading books. They don't enjoy spending time in libraries and finding the gems that are hidden in the books. And,
the gems. Okay.
Yeah, and also from our communities where I come from, it is books. Families don't love books. And parents are the first teachers. They should inculcate the attitude for reading from even the formative stage. Yeah, I think it's more of attitudinal issue more than even the affordability of books, because we find a lot of Kenyans, they can find money to do so many things, but they cannot buy a book. So it's not an issue of the books are expensive. It's not about the issue of also libraries not being enough, because even the few libraries we have in Nairobi, if you go to Kenya National Library Service, you will possibly find it almost half or a quarter full. So not even the issue of libraries not being enough, it's the issue of attitude, and that is from the families and from the schools, and also other habits taking the center.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's comparing, the things that people do with their time and their resources vis-a-vis what is not happening when it comes to buying books and reading books. There was a time even reading was a hobby. Even when you're applying for a job in that section in your CV, you write hobbies.
Sure. Yeah.
Reading was one of them. But nowadays, it's slowly fading out. It's no longer a hobby. And I don't know, Kevin, what you'd say to people who think reading is boring. Reading, I would rather watch a movie than read a book that has been written based on the same story. It's better for me to just sit and watch, or I'd rather read an online version of a book than have that book like physically seated somewhere reading it. It's boring. What do you tell people who think like that?
Actually, it's high time people think of books as something that should be boring, because I think you find that books, we should expect entertainment, we should expect information, things like those. So it's all about attitude and priority. So if I prioritize reading, I will have to allocate some time within a day to at least read a book, So if you prioritize reading over any other unnecessary things that people do around, you'll ensure that you'll realize that people will start reading. And then number two, people have challenges about reading. There are slow readers. There are some people who read but they don't understand, So I think it's a good thing to identify a community of readers, If I want to read, I have to look for someone who loves reading, so that the person can inspire me, so that I can learn how to read through the person.
Through them. So
Yeah.
you don't walk alone.
Yeah, so
But
that
then
you don't
tell me
walk
how,
alone.
like averagely on a daily basis or a weekly basis, how many books or articles do you read?
Actually, I used to be a slow reader.
Yeah, so tell us
and
how
I have to
you've grown.
I have to be sincere about it. How I've grown my habit is that is through partnership. Yeah, we have reading partnerships, so that I have my reading partner, so that we get a book, and then we give ourselves time limits.
Oh, to when to complete?
Yeah, when to complete the book.
Okay.
So it will be upon me to try hard, and so that I can cope up with the other person, so that we finish at the same time. So partnership is very key if you are a slow reader and would like to read as many books as possible. And it's not just a matter of reading. You have to grab something from the book. Yeah. If I read a book, I should learn something from the book. Yeah, so it's not just a matter of reading.
You just don't read for the sake.
Yeah, don't just read for the sake.
Okay, tell me like averagely, how many days can you take to complete a book?
I used to take a month, but nowadays I take 2 weeks
2 weeks you
to
can
complete a book. Yeah,
Okay.
because of some other commitments. Yeah.
That you're doing.
Yeah.
Currently, what are you reading?
I'm currently reading a book by John Mason, written "The Impossible is Possible." Yeah, it's a very inspiring book. So the information I get from that book inspires me to read a lot other books. Yeah.
Okay. Tom, I don't know about you as well. Tell me, what are some of the challenges that you've also experienced in your life as a writer and a reader, things that the viewer can identify with, and how did you overcome them? What worked for you?
Yeah, there's a challenge in a contemporary lifestyle because of stringent working time. Most people are working very hard from morning till to the evening. When they're tired, they cannot get enough time to read a book. And also the weekends take a lot of, they use the weekend to run errands that they were not able to do during the weekend. So how I was able to create time for reading is to create time for it. It's just to be purposeful, to prioritize reading.
Be intentional about
it. Yeah, being intentional about reading, and possibly cutting time for, especially when I'm able to avoid commuting, I use that time to read. Yeah, and I learn myself also with a community of readers. So in such a community, for instance, Readers Guild of Kenya, we share books. We share books and we encourage each other to read. Yeah, and so that as a reader, I have favorite authors, of course, whose work I cannot get enough of. Yeah, and
you want more and more every time.
Yeah, more
Currently,
and more
what
every
are you
time.
reading?
Yeah, I'm reading The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde is my all-time favorite author.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how do we enhance this culture in our children? Because we can only start there. If you train the children, then the generations to come, the problem has been solved. What are some of the things that you think we can be able to do so that we grow a society that is made up of readers, people who have a passion for reading coming?
I think we are in a very funny generation, because this is the time you find that if I have a child, a little child, instead of buying the child a book to read, I'll buy the child a gun to play with, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to a family.
A toy gun, you have
Yeah,
to be
a toy
specific.
gun. Yeah, a toy gun, sort of. So I've been to
Yeah.
a family whereby you go to the children room, you find a lot of charts, you know. There are charts, there are books, children's story books, you know. They should be encouraged to read, you know. The children should be encouraged to read. You know, a child is someone who is very funny. The thing you teach him or her at that tender age is what he will know as the trending culture, you know. So, and Africa as well has been an oral tradition continent, you know. Don't just leave the children to read alone on their own. Try to find some time, try to create
To
time
read
with
with
them,
them.
you know. You sit down with them, you learn to to show them how to read and how to pronounce words. I remember myself when I was in the lower primaries, I could not even pronounce the word mouth. So our teacher used to hold us captives a period to lunch. That is when he will come with a cane. He wants to mark the English books.
Okay.
So what you do, you go with your book, you actually dictate what you've written, you know. So I used to read mouth as mouth, you know.
Mouth, okay.
And I could not go for lunch. I could not be allowed to go for lunch
Until you get it
until
right.
I get it right.
Okay.
And the cane was there also. So actually, though the cane is not something that should be applicable, but we should just get a friendly way of trying to bring the children close to books.
To books.
Yes.
And now that you've talked about that, it is this generation precisely that has embraced technology to the highest limit. And we were sharing earlier, and you were telling me how technology has also affected this culture of reading in a way, because a lot of our young people are spending time on social media, posting pictures and status on Facebook, on all those social media, and they prefer, you know, the soft copy versions of things. Like, why would I sit down and read a physical book when I can get all the information I want online? And even my assignments, I can get answers online. So why should I spend time, you know, doing that? Talk to us about how technology has affected, you know, this culture of reading, and how do we go forward, living with technology on this other side and making sure that the culture of reading is also not a thing of the past. How do we make sure that that works? Tom.
Thank you. Technology is a good thing. It has made readers to connect with others, and there's the internet is a deep sea of books. You can fish out any kind of book you want. But unfortunately, that one, it has not encouraged, especially Kenyans, to read because they spend time maybe in other things. The reason the technology has been very good to some, to people who really love reading as a hobby, but not so many. So the reason technology has not really created that interest for reading is because some books are not well written. They're all manner of books. Actually, currently they are.
Okay, so it's a challenge to writers as well.
It's a challenge to
because the
writers.
content also has to be captivating for you to read it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and if you write, as a writer, if you write a very good story, it will get many readers interested. So good books are not being written because there are bookpreneurs in the internet who like write a book even in 2 days, and then they publish on the book marketplaces. So there are no good books being written. And to get Kenyans love, Kenyans are comical, they love jokes. And you find Kenyans, every Kenyan is joking about even very serious issues.
Yeah, true.
So I think it's a challenge to writers to write descriptively, to put some humor in writing, so that
to make it fun,
to make it fun,
entertaining.
Yeah.
Very quickly, because we're running out of time, what is, like, I would say 3 outstanding advantages of reading a physical book that you have had to experience as a person, something that you'll challenge the viewer with this morning? Why would I take this book and read it as opposed to looking for an online version or a summary of it somewhere? What is it that is so spicy about reading?
Yeah, so actually let me say that technology has advantages and advantages to the readers and the writers. Number one, one of the most advantages is that the online books are portable. They are easily portable because you can read anywhere. You know, you can read on your phone while in the mat. So someone will just be looking at you and thinking that you are reading a message, not knowing that you are reading a novel. But another thing is, people nowadays don't like identifying themselves with books. Even the Bible itself is a book, you know. So you find that someone has downloaded a Bible
in their phone.
In their phones, you know. So I think it's a good thing to get a physical book over an online book. For the first reason, what if you run out of bundles? Will you stop reading because you don't have bundles? Because you're out of internet connection? It's not realistic. So, and another thing, a physical book is actually a good thing reading, because I can sit with the physical book, the hard copy, and then, like, personally, I always sit with a dictionary, a pen, and a piece of paper.
So that underline.
I underline, I note down the vocabularies, and then I go back to the dictionary and research. But you know, if you're reading an online book, you have to compete with the bundles, you have to compete with the internet, so you have no time to go back and research, check how the word has been used. So actually, the physical book is preferable over the online book.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've, you know, really talked about a lot of issues when it comes to reading, and some people are watching and they would like to be like you. They'd like to have that passion that I can read a book and have a dictionary and write and dig deep and analyze. How do I get there? As your final words, what do you tell the viewer this morning? How do they get to where you guys are in terms of writing and in terms of reading? Let me start with you, Tom, then Kevin, you can complete for us.
Thank you for that. The first thing readers can do is join communities. There are so many communities. For instance, in Nairobi, there is various reading clubs. If you Google, there's one called Young Professional Leaders. Yeah, it's there's Writers Guild. There's so many. There are clubs.
Just find a group of people that can motivate you.
Exactly. There's so many communities where they can join, so they can get books. Even if the issue is affordability of books, books are being shared, and they can analyze. They can read a book together in a community.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Actually, I don't want just to go straight to what they should do. I just want to say what we are planning to do for them. Number one, we are planning to get partnerships whereby you can you identify a team of youths, and that is currently taking place with a lady in Mombasa. They get books.
We're really pressed for time, so
yeah.
I don't know if you can just give us your final remark.
Yeah, the final remark is that just identify a reading partner.
Yes.
And then ensure that you give yourselves a time limit, and make sure that even if you don't finish the first book on time, learn to cope up with the time for the next book. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, thank you so much. Of course, it's a conversation that can be carried to another day, but so far so good. I know that somebody has gotten something from what you guys are sharing, how they can start and become readers and better readers, fast readers, and readers who go deep to understand the details of what has been written. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for coming to the studios this morning. And Good Morning Kenya takes a break, and like I told you, I'll be having an author in studio. Today it's all about writing and reading. So we want to talk about something that is very passionate about, that is helping people to live their dreams. So I know that is something that you want to do wherever you are. So how is what we will be talking about right after this particular break.
Familia katutenga baada ya kuiba kila kitu, hata nyumba baba alikuwa amejenga. Sini yule muhindi alituchukua katusomesha baada ya mimi kumkata nyasi na kumpandia mahindi. Nguo zetu zikavarika to a point that hatukuwa tunavaa, tulikuwa tunafunga. Kama Mslamu ki Ramadhan kichakula tulifosiwa kufunga juu haikukua. And bad turn to us after turn kukua teenager na ulikuwa unataka pads. I don't want to imagine. After muhindi aliaga dunia, bibi na watoto vibao walitutumia, machomba walituangalia walituchukia, chakulembe kwetu kwa kuadai tututupia. Hapo ndo tukasema no more on my shoulders ukalia. Kwa watu tukaanza kuwa vijakazi, at times we spend all day bila kazi. I think Mungu alitunyima pesa kakupea urembo, vijana wadogo wale kina Jones na wote wale wazee Orengo, wenye pesa na mali ya kutesa walikesha waliwapia pressure juu ya vitu wangeza mesha. Wali promise heaven on earth. Wengine promise just to lay down to make for you a path. Wali promise kuku baga cause you made their hearts go gugu gaga. But is that one lucky guy whom you shared a dream with? Ali promise atakupeleka shule, mavazi malipakule at least kila siku ukule. Ulimove na yeye. Sikuwa na shida cause very soon liona improvement kwako kwa nywele. Ulinishangaza tuanza kushikwa na alejitapati madondo. Sasa ukifua sana tuna complain mgongo. Uli complain vits yako ni ndogo unataka range, ukacha umaskini on a very huge range, ukakuwa tabia zingine very strange. From simia button uli upgrade. Siki Octo ulikuwa kula Apple ukitumia iPhone. Ulikuwa frequent customer Skylax na Club Gali leo. Kila siku ulikuwa na complain na ukuli ugali leo. Ulitaka kuku nyama ukajaza huku nyama. Uliro. But I think pia hiyo bit ilikuchocha ukafanya vitu zingine hata bwanako mwenyewe akakuchoka. Kikis 100 ukaanza kukujama late night. Each and everything you did, you thought you did it right. Ukaanza kujichocha kikali graph, ukaanza kubonga chafu yani rough. Ulisonya Jumbocha alipika chai bila soya, azeke kwa chedulu kuna muuliza soya. Ulitaka maelfu very shameful. I think nile saluni ya Mama Shiko yenye lipenda kwenda ndo alikufundisha na bwana zenyewe brikicho. After Haziali kutupa nje, konange sisi lipenda mwili yako hata na finje. Mimi kuchukua ishi na mimi nilikuwa nikaa kujaribu fuga dish mwitu. Kila siku limeza pitu kachipo mwitu na ukuchagua. Anyone who said loved you, you said me too. 9 months later, after picha zako zilionekana Pornhub na Porn Erotica, ukuja kwangu kwa umebadilika. Ulikuwa umetoka nywele, uko na rashes mwili nzima, kumbe ulikuwa ushakanyaga waya stima. Tulikuwa Thika Road, tukikimbiza hospitali maluliaga dunia, mali mama na baba pia walikufia. Obviously huko 10 matanga yako juluku umekufa, but I tell you sister kulibomoka ufa. Baada ya watoto waliwapatia ngono, walirusha mikono na kutetemesha midomo, baada kusemekana ulikufa na ukimwi. Hata kasisi alikuwa miongoni mizimwi. But I said I'm not going to judge you for who you are, for it is said to be a complete human you must have a weakness. And mine is never to do wrong. And when I'm gone, I hope to see you in a better place. Yours, positive brother, Build him a fish.
Thank you so much for staying with us, and we continue with the program. Today it's all about reading and writing, and now I'm having an author in studio that is going to help us understand something that is very passionate about, and a motivational speaker as well. Both of them actually are motivational speakers. They work at Living Your Dream Enterprises Limited, and they're here with me this morning to help us understand how we can be able to deal with disappointments in our journey to living our dream. I know it's just the first month and we are still psyched up about achieving certain goals this year, but then there are certain things that we never plan or see or foresee. You know, misfortunes come along the way, discouragements will come along the way, and you can simply shift your focus from what you wanted to do and say, oh, it can wait, maybe I'll try next time. So how do we deal with those issues when we want to achieve our dream? That is what we want to talk about today, and I'll introduce my guests for the show this morning. First of all, I'll start from my far left. That is Robert Maina.
Yeah, okay.
He's a motivational speaker. Thank you so much for coming to the studios.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and we have Otieno Paul Peter, the author of Living Your Dreams in 7 Ds. And today we'll be talking about the 4th D, that is disappointment. And thank you so much for coming to the studios. He's also a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So earlier you were having a conversation about inculcating the culture of reading.
Yeah.
Very quickly, your opinions about this. Do you think that our country is a reading society?
It's really not. Thank you for inviting me again, Safin. It's really not our country, but I think it's human nature. Well, they say Africans basically don't read, and there could be some truth in it, because many people, when I meet people, I ask them, do you read? And the question I normally like asking following that is, what's the difference between you who knows how to read and you don't read, and somebody who doesn't know how to read?
And wants to read.
Yeah, and no, somebody who doesn't know how to read has no choice.
Okay.
He doesn't know.
Okay.
But somebody knows how to read,
But they just
doesn't
choose
read.
not to read.
You see?
Wow.
So it's a big nightmare. And I think, you know, in life, people need a motivation to do something.
Okay.
The question is, if people understood what is in it for them, you see? And perhaps in our discussion, we are going to find out some of the reasons that would make someone read.
All right.
Yeah.
So because of time, we'll get straight into the issue that we want to talk about. Robert, we are just a society, and every new year we sit down and we strategize what we want to achieve. Not just new year. In the course of your life, there is that one thing you want to achieve as a person. There's that career goal. There's that probably a plan that you have for yourself that you want to achieve. But along the way, there are so many people who just give up and let go and create so many excuses. From where you sit as a motivational speaker, I know you train people on living their dream. Tell me about what you think would slow down people from, you know, getting to their dream. What are some of the things and excuses that people create?
Okay, thank you very much. Anytime, whenever you set your goals to achieve something, most of the people don't get to where they are supposed to. They don't get what they want. Mostly it's because they are not patient enough and they don't do what it takes to get where they want to be. Most of the people, whenever they don't get what they want to do, they get depressed, and later on, they really suffer a lot and quit their journey. I want to give you an example with me. When I was growing up, I really wanted to be a pilot, but life was a bit difficult for my parents. They could not afford to help me out achieve that. So I got into the military, thinking that
achieve my dream. But after getting there, I didn't get what I wanted to do. So immediately I started looking for something else which could make me achieve my dreams. And that's how I got into business.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So just like the story of every other person, there is something you want, but then because of 1, 2, 3 things, you don't get to do that thing that you want. Otieno, you've written a book about people living their dream and what can make them live their dream. How are you living your dream?
I thank God I'm living my dream, I would say.
What was that dream?
Because, you see, when I was growing up, I went through several challenges, and the major part of the challenge entailed education. For whichever reason, I wasn't able to go to secondary schools as I'd planned, as I'd thought. And I saw many of my friends also quit in class 8 because there is no future for them. And another friend repeated class 8 3 times. Those 3 times, he was always the top student, the top pupil in the class, leading in KCPE, but didn't go to secondary school. And I think out of that generation, perhaps I'm the only one who's managed to reach up to the university.
Okay.
And it was a long struggle. And my thinking as at that time was, Kenya is losing a lot of brilliant brains due to fees problem. And I saw the concept was you must go to school and then you will have life. If you don't go to school,
It was the
no
only
life.
key to success.
Yes,
the key
it was
to life.
actually, that was the key word. It's the education is the
The
key. I
key
used
to
to listen
success.
to Lucky Dube saying that. I held it
true.
very well.
Yeah.
And I was determined to read and to study. But then I thought, like, how about these people who are not so fortunate enough to reach their dreams in terms of academics? And I realized it's not all academics. There is a lot of life beyond academics.
education. Okay.
Right now, if we look for somebody which is the PhD in finance, he's probably not the richest person in Kenya, but he has a PhD in finance. If we look for somebody with a PhD in leadership, he's probably not the best leader. We look for somebody who has PhD in political science, he's perhaps not the best politician, you see. So we realize that academics somewhat is overrated. Over and above that, there is something else that we can do in order to live our dreams.
Okay.
And now that's where we come in. And actually that was the main purpose of the book.
All right.
Live your dream
Live your
in
dream
7 Ds.
in 7 days.
The Ds are the steps that you meet on the way, and disappointment comes the 4th, just
Probably
near
you can take
the
us
dream.
through the 7 Ds. Just mention them.
Yeah, mentioning is you must have a dream in the first place.
You dream
this
first,
dream,
and
yes.
dreams
You
are
must
valid.
have, yes, valid, whatever. We can discuss deeply into that, but it's a big topic on its
All
own.
right.
All these things are big topics. Then you've got to have determination. That I say determination backed by burning desire. And then you will need to go through some discipline.
Okay.
And then you reach disappointment.
Okay.
And that's normally the D moment.
That is
And
where
it's
many people stop.
It's perhaps my favorite subject,
Okay.
because many people hate troubles. Many people hate disappointments.
Okay.
And that is where people stop. You'll pick a good business idea, you go to your spouse, you expect all the support,
And
and
then
is the first to
they
say,
shut you out.
that can't work. Yes.
So we'll talk about that as
Yes.
well. But then after
And
disappointment,
then after disappointment, there is a detour. There is detox first. Detox basically is something you've got to do. You've got to detox yourself.
okay.
Yes,
After-
getting
after
rid
all
of the
those
toxins and whatever.
disappointments,
Yes,
you have to do
you've got to you do some detox, and then you've got to, you will always meet some detour. A detour, it's sort of a deviation, and many people feel comfortable at a deviation.
Okay.
You see, I was going to, let's say I wanted to be a doctor, but then I reached some level and I've started earning some little money
You
from
say, "Ah, but I'm
locum and things
okay,
like that, and
okay."
say, well, I think it's
As
a
long
good,
as I can
good
pay
enough.
my bills,
yeah.
that's okay.
So
Okay.
people get some detours, and that
They
steals
distract
the
you
dream.
from the main
yes,
goal.
and then we reach our dream, and then
Okay.
we say, you dream again.
dream
You
again.
don't stop there.
Okay,
You go.
wow. So it's a cycle that
Yes,
continues.
it's a cycle, and that's the
Living
way
your
people
dream in
grow.
7 days.
And that's
So
why I
today
say
we're
we're
talking
living our
about
dreams.
The 4th D.
Yes.
That is disappointment.
Yes.
From your understanding, Robert,
Yeah.
when you hear the word disappointment, what comes into your mind?
What comes into my mind are the challenges people go through. And those challenges should make someone become better and prepare you for the next step of life. And you can't avoid the challenges. They have to be there for the life to be exciting for you. And I love the challenges because those are the food for the champions. Anyone who has achieved anything in life, he has gone through some challenges. And they make you a better person and a stronger person. And I learned something from the training I went through in the military. Every day we were facing new challenges each and every day. And every challenge was preparing us for the next step. And that is what many people avoid and run away from, of which you can't run away from them.
From challenges.
So they really help somebody become a stronger person in life.
So in your journey to living your dream,
Yeah.
you're going to experience that moment where something can really make you stop.
Great.
That is disappointments. Yeah?
Crushing disappointment.
Talk to us about
Let me tell
that
you.
stage,
Let me tell
because
you,
that is where many people stop.
if you're going to achieve something worth achieving, you must be sure there is going to be an obstruction. For whichever reason, I don't know, but I normally say, seems the universe conspires to test you before it can trust you.
Okay.
You've got to pass a test before you get the reward. I remember, and I wrote it last week, the D moments. I was writing about this topic. And I remember one of my mentors said, when I wanted to make a particular significant step in a business, he said, you see, now that you've set a big goal, you must be prepared for big challenges because the devil is not happy with your success.
Okay. The bigger the goal,
Yes,
the bigger the challenges.
Yes, because
Okay.
how you see people who achieve more, the only thing that they don't show us is the big trouble they had to get to overcome.
Okay. So
But
every
most of us-
successful
yes.
person, they have a story.
Yes,
They have that moment.
all of them without exception.
Okay.
The only issue is the generation of today, most of us are brought up into the end justifies the means. And we always want to reach the end faster, and we do not want to see what we have
The
to
process.
go through, the process. And somebody once said that it takes 20 years to achieve an overnight success. Get that?
Okay.
Takes 20 years.
Good years.
Take Rudisha, for example. Do you think he woke up and won Olympic?
No.
Yes.
There was a process and effort
He
and
had
sacrifice.
to work and practice for so many years.
Yeah.
And try many times. And if you are in Kenya, you will start with some Leo marathon, some start marathon, whatever, and finally you reach somewhere. So we may see the 11 seconds, whatever it takes in the field, and people start calculating how many millions per second. No, this guy has been working on himself for
a
many
very long
years.
time.
So that disappointing part, if we don't, if we are not ready for it, we better stop dreaming. Yeah.
Okay. Probably, Robert,
Yes.
where do people go wrong in that moment of disappointment? If you were to, dig deeper, where do you think people go wrong? Because you say disappointments will always come.
Yeah.
But then what is the biggest mistake we make at that stage of our journey to living our dream?
Most people, when they go through disappointments and challenges, they don't take time to think about what they are going through. Or they don't look for a mentor who can help them achieve what they want. And most people fail because they have not trained enough, especially in the field they are in. It may be business, it may be in any field. If you don't go through the required training, automatically you'll face the challenges. So it's always good to make sure that you train as hard as possible. If you're a salesperson, train more about customer care.
Okay.
If you are doing any training, even if it's for any profession, if you don't go through the right trainings, of course you'll meet the challenges. And if you don't, many people don't take time to think about what they are going through. And it's always advisable, whenever you get a challenge, take some time and think about it. Troubleshoot, know where it's coming from, and then work out from there. Yeah.
It's easier said.
No, it's not easier said.
than
You see,
done.
Adding on
because
that,
at that point you have a lot of pressure left, right, and center.
No,
maybe you have invested so much money in a business and things are just crumbling and falling apart. You need like an emergency solution.
That's what will
You don't
determine
have
whether
time
you're a
to
true
sit and
business
think.
person or you are just a wannabe.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
that's the point that separates seriousness from just people who are trying. Remember, when people start going around the field in a marathon, not everyone will finish. The question is, are you the one who will finish? You see?
Yeah.
And in the field of business or in real life, we are really not in a race with other people. We're on our own track. We are moving on. Are we going to reach our race? You see, we normally tell this to people with Robert. If you train enough, every challenge you meet, it means there is still something you're yet to learn.
Okay.
You see, if you're driving and you haven't learned enough about driving, you probably will meet more problems on the road.
So the more you learn, the less
Yes,
the challenges
you've got
become.
to be ready to
Wow,
learn,
okay.
and part of learning is through that experience.
Okay.
Now you know how to do it better. You see,
Experience is the best teacher.
They say so. Experience is the best teacher, but sometimes experience, while it could be the best teacher, not everyone learns from experience. The other thing is, while experience will teach you if you are teachable, you see, it could be that what happens with experience is that it will punish you first, and then it is you to dig into the knowledge. But you see, ordinary teachers like me and Robert, we will teach you ahead.
Okay.
So that
Before
when you
get
meet
to
it,
the-
and even by me
All
telling you
right.
that you're going to meet trouble, be ready for it. That is good enough, by
You're
the way.
becoming so realistic in the
Yeah.
sense that you're telling people, if you're going for something, know
Yes.
that it's not going to be easy. That you're going to meet a lot of challenges.
Yes.
And at some point you can be tempted to create excuses and stop.
Great. Robert will
But-
tell you that when they joined the military, they were told that 10% of you will die. You see,
okay.
somebody tells you prior.
So you're prepared and you
Yes.
know this is going to happen.
Yes. When we joined the university, some people who were doing another course, they were told that only 25% of you will graduate. You see, that's good enough. You better know
But
it.
are you going
Yes.
to be among
yes.
the
Are you going to
25?
be among them?
That's what you need to
Yeah,
work on.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Robert,
want
what
to
do you
add
as
something.
you add that, what do you tell people who fear, before even the disappointment, they don't want to take a step because of the fear of that disappointment. There are people who've already created in their mind that, okay, I want to start a business, but anyway, probably I may suffer a loss, something may happen, so let me just not risk, let me just not do anything. What do you tell those kind of people who fear even before they get on the road? As
Okay.
you add whatever point you wanted to add.
Yeah, fear is one of the greatest obstacles to achieving something in life. So it's always good to try something instead of judging that I'll fail in it. So, and that is what most of the people do. They fear taking action because they fear what people talk about them, they fear failure and all that. So it's always good to overcome the fear by trying whatever you are fearing. If it's in business, get into business and learn as you move on. And then another issue I wanted to add on is if you're in the wrong terrain, you'll automatically fail. So it's always good to identify the right terrain.
The right dream.
Yeah, the right dream and also the terrain.
Yes,
Because
Okay, I like
because
that.
I want to
Maybe
give you
you're
an
doing something
example.
That's not yours.
I want to
Yes.
give you an
You're
example
running a race that's not yours.
yeah,
Give me the example.
of a shark and a lion. When the lion gets into water, the shark will win the lion. When the shark is on the land, the lion will win the shark. So the terrain matters a lot. So identify the right terrain and move on with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so our time is almost running out. But then, Paul, in your book you say employers will disappoint you, friends will disappoint you, very many sources of disappointment.
Yeah.
What do you tell, that person concerning what they need to be watchful and mindful about in this stage of disappointment? What is it that you want them to understand?
The question is not to avoid disappointment. The question is not to avoid trouble. The question is to know that it will come and you've got to be prepared for it. And the moment you're prepared for it, you're at least you've done a step into overcoming it because you knew it. If you knew you can miss a train, you probably can have other alternatives. The other thing is, don't hold people into your heart. For some reason, it brings in wrong feelings into
like
you.
I counted on this person.
And these
really
wrong feelings
hoped.
cannot allow you to succeed. They will be like holding you back.
Okay.
You must be positive generally in your whole body in order to achieve your dream. So you must learn to forget about, or not necessarily to forget, but to forgive, or rather to leave them aside and just count them as part of the obstacles. And I normally give this example, if you are doing sales and you're selling handkerchiefs, maybe along the streets, how many people do you count? Do you count the people who bought or the people who passed?
Like in the story you brought out about the KFC founder.
Yes.
Over 1,000 no's and then finally a yes.
Why?
Okay.
Because he was clear about what he wanted. And he knew by the end of the day, he will be able to get the right thing because the dream is clear.
Okay.
So get to know that you meet one no, you know that by the end of it, you will finally get a yes. You see, even if you are chancing, there is just so much you can try. Thomas Edison did it 10,000 times, but he was positive. So you will learn first of all from your experience and take it as a positive step. Now you will not repeat that same mistake. Learn to let these people go and learn that every problem that comes your way comes for the good. There is something good in it. Focus on that good, mind that gold, move on.
All right, wow. These are the kind of conversations I really would wish that we just talk about the whole day, because that is what is affecting many people. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of the time that we had for today. We really need to learn more about the other Ds. So probably in the near future, we can continue with this conversation. But today it was all about disappointments and dealing with disappointments along the way. As your final remarks, what do you want to leave my viewer with this morning? Let me start with you, Robert.
So what I would like to say is anytime whenever you face challenges, try and fly higher. Because if you fly too low, challenges will overcome you. And then also learn to handle challenges in a creative way, because they come in different ways, in different magnitudes. So there's no specific way of handling challenges, but be creative whenever you get the challenges. Yeah.
Okay. Tieno
Great.
Paul?
One is get to know that challenges will come, problems will come. The bigger the dream, the bigger the problem you've got to surmount. Two, whenever you meet them, first ask yourself, what didn't you know that you now know? Two, ask yourself, if you are experiencing a problem and you feel like you need some solution. One is, what can I do? Ask yourself, what can I do as an individual? Is there something I can read? That's where reading comes in. Is there something I'm yet to read?
Okay.
Because you meet problems partly because you did not know something.
Wow.
Then the other thing is, whom can I ask?
Whom
can I work with?
Okay.
There are many people, the majority of the people who surround you may not qualify to be there.
Show me
And
your
so
friends.
you may not necessarily ask your spouse. You know, many of us go to the people we trust most.
Thank you.
I have a medical problem. I'm going to my uncle who is a witch doctor or who is a farmer. Yeah, just because he's older and I trust him. No, ask
to
the,
the
right
right
person
people. Wow.
and learn the right question to ask.
Okay.
Finally, just get to know problems will come.
They will
The
come.
determinant is, will you overcome them or will you stop at that point and sing in the glory of losing?
Okay. Wow. Thank you for that dose. A small dose, but it's something to kickstart your week. It's something to kickstart your year. It's something to kickstart your next month as you aspire to achieve that goal that you have. What I will say, I'll borrow from this book. They say that there is always time to quit. Anytime you want to quit, say there is always time to quit. When you get to that time you want to quit, tell yourself you can quit next time. When you get to that time, say you can quit next time.
And
you will never quit like
and
that.
it's on Amazon. by the
Yes,
way, you better
yes,
mention.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching the show. And that is where we bring the program to a close for today. We come tomorrow bright and early for Entertainment Thursday. Samuel Njoroge, Martin Mwanje, and I and the entire production crew that are making this program a success every morning. We really appreciate, and we also appreciate you, our viewer, for watching. So let's meet tomorrow bright and early. Good Morning Kenya has come to the end, but keep watching KBC Channel 1. There is more that we have for you.